do you have any sense, if is there an ideal size for these groups? And I imagine people come and go, or is there like you sign up? If you sign up, you got to come for the whole year, or how does the sort of attendance structure work?
Yeah, it's very open, and we've never had like a formal screening process or anything like that. I think earlier on, if if there were folks interested, like we would sometimes check in with them ahead of time, just see like what they're about. But more lately, like past few years, it's just been like if anyone's interested, just come roll through. And there's no obligation in the sense that like we expect people to go a certain number of times. It's always nice when there is a level of consistency, though. Um, Thinking about like how do we um, kind of I don't want to say like invite the rest of the folks back in because they're still on the email list and everything, but maybe like asking folks to participate in another way if they're not able to physically be there. Right? But asking folks to maybe, if they're able, share ideas through email or on our Google groups, because like we would really value their input and contributions. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. But we've the intimacy of this space has really allowed for really rich dialogues, and sometimes less is more.
Do you usually meet in someone's home, or is it schools, or where are you usually holding these?
The inquiry sessions we hold in folks' classrooms because it's really cool to just check out different spaces, just to like be in each teacher's like room. So generally, like whoever's holding their inquiry, like they'll host us in their classroom space. Um, but then we also have been holding kickbacks less frequently lately, but kickbacks are just like opportunities to build community and just hang out. So sometimes it's just meeting at a restaurant. Other times it's doing something more recreational, like we went bowling last year, um, or just going on a hike, things like that, where we're just making time to like not just talk about work, but connecting with each other.
Like, what's the role of facilitator in these inquiry groups?
Hmm. Yeah, I should actually clarify that whoever is leading their inquiry, they're technically like the facilitator. I guess I'm using the word like kind of more the word facilitator, co-facilitator, more like organizing the
Mhm.
space in general. So like sending out emails, checking in with folks who are going to present an inquiry, that type of thing. So maybe like I don't know if organizer is a more appropriate word, but yeah, we and it's pretty informal, right? I think just given that like I've been part of the space since its inception, like I've kind of just been taking care of a lot of emails and stuff. But when it's whoever's up for presenting their word, we want them to just like run with it and just take ownership over it, and that's usually how it goes.
And it sounds like you have a pretty like wide spectrum of teach like everyone's not an ELA high school teacher.
Correct.
Um, so are there, I mean, do you have recommendations for topics they might propose, or is it sort of whatever is interested to them
Mm.
they can add, or is there things off the table that they can't do? Do you have any suggestions there?
Yeah, no, good question. Nothing, no, nothing is off the table. We want folks to bring whatever it is that they're um, wanting to learn more about, or struggling with, or excited about. Like everything has value, and so we yeah, and we've talked about a range of stuff, like from grades to AP classes um, to teaching writing, to talking about nonviolence education, to um, creating humanizing spaces. So it really runs like a wide spectrum, and at the end of the day, it's like whatever it is that resonates with each person. um, Now with that said, what sets us apart from maybe other inquiry spaces, and certainly I think what sets us apart from like trainings, kind of run of the mill trainings at our schools, is like we're intentionally talking about and unapologetically talking about like social racial justice work, decolonizing education, humanizing education, um, and centering the experiences of teachers of color specifically. It is open to white allies, and like we invite that. We actually really value that, but we're explicit about honoring and centering teachers of color experiences, because teachers of colored experiences are often like invisibilized or silenced or just not um, noticed in schools. So that's an important part of our work. And more recently, we've had like first year teachers, pre-service teachers, which is really cool. And so I've been in touch with a few professors around the area who might know of some pre-service teachers, um, and so that's been really cool to have. It's not really a mentorship apprenticeship model, but it's really interesting and insightful to just like be part of conversations where these brand new teachers and like folks who've been in it for a really long time, and it's cool.
Do you have any other general guiding principles for your critical friends groups?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we have our own like set of principles that kind of grounds us in our work and grounds us in our space, and really holding like a compassionate, humanizing space. And I say that because like when we're talking about critical pedagogy work, it's really easy, I think, to veer into um, areas where we're like just being like really really hypercritical, but sometimes we're creating like a toxic environment. um, and I'm not saying the critical friend space does that. I'm saying like several of us have been in spaces where that's happened, where we don't want that to happen in our critical friends inquiry space. So we're intentional about like being really honest with each other. um and like it's kind of that I guess dichotomy of like calling out versus calling in, whereas like let's call things out that need to be called out, but in a way where it's like educating and where we're not like, ostracizing folks. So for us that's a real important part of the work, and that's not to say like we're practicing respectability politics or we're like um suppressing rage or anything like that. It's not about that. For us, I think so many of us feel like we can be vulnerable and open and honest because we're lifting each other up with which is unconditional love. Like thank you to y'all for engaging in this work, for being educators and just doing the work that needs to be done. And yeah, thank you.